This is Gee Whiz God, and it's entitled Beautiful. I had the privilege to visit the Grand Canyon once. I was driving cross country coming from the East Coast heading west. Both myself and the person I was with wanted to see the sunset over the Grand Canyon. We did what we could to plan appropriately to make sure our timing was perfect. We almost ran out of gas and ultimately the car we had broke down, but not before we were able to make it just in time to sit and watch the sunset over the Grand Canyon. It was perfect timing and we beheld something beautiful that evening. Time is something of an enigma to me when I consider why the Lord made it, all that it encapsulates, and how he uses it. It seems truly endless, and yet he has a definitive beginning and end to time, which seems to tame this mammoth down to just a tool he uses for our good. Timing, as seen through his eyes, is directly connected to beauty. Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 11, he has made everything beautiful in his time. Also, he has set the world in their hearts, so that no man can find out the work that God makes from the beginning to the end. King James Version. One thing man has no control over is time. Yes, we are called to wisely manage our personal time and to plan accordingly, but even the best time managers are subject to time and not the reverse. No man can start or stop time. No man can turn the clock back or move it forward. It is a construct of God's design and answers only to his command. A common phrase you will read in the Word is, quote, at the appointed time. Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 1, there is an appointed time for everything, and there is a time for every event under heaven. I realized how different we view and use time from how he views and uses time. He works in seasons. Seasons in his creation, seasons in his bride, the church, and seasons in our own individual lives. This is true whether we know him or not. It is a universal spiritual and natural principle. We, on the other hand, seem to work more by the arrival or passing of an event and often live in a place of waiting for an event to happen. Although an event can often trigger a new season in our lives, i.e. the birth of a baby, a marriage, the day you left an abusive situation, we tend to become focused on these events and only later on realize the, quote, season we were living in. I do not want to discount these events because God uses them too. A lot, actually. There are also many teachings about waiting on the Lord, waiting on him to answer certain prayer requests to bring that trigger moment that launches us out of where we are and into the next season. And yet our focus is quite often not on the season, but the event. Although cliche, it is a true statement. It is not the destination, but the journey that defines us. Proverbs chapter 13, verse 12, hope deferred makes the heart sick, but when the desire comes, it is a tree of life. While you wait upon the Lord for his appointed time, turn your gaze off the desired event for just a moment and affix it on the season he has you in. Open your heart to see the time, or really season, from his perspective. Questions are like keys. It is not the amount of questions, but it is asking the right ones which open the right doors. I believe we find the true motive of our hearts sometimes by the questions we ask. In doing so, we can see an honest inner reflection of our hearts. Is our hope in him or in what we are waiting for? Because he is a present hope, and when he is first in our hearts, we will never come to a place of being heart sick. In Genesis, Jesus is the tree of life. Jesus, what season am I in? What am I going to glean at this time and learn? What season is the church in? When I went through this one particular season of my life, what were you teaching me then that I missed? He will answer and speak. He will definitely let you know. Maybe some of us need to ask if we made the promised event an idol, and that is why we are so sick in our hearts. Waiting on him is not easy, And there are times when we can go through multiple seasons or very long seasons before we see a promise fulfilled. There are even some seasons in our lives where we can wonder how they could ever be redeemed. But he makes all things beautiful in his time, not our time. He ordains the seasons and sets the appointed times. If we can adjust our viewpoint, if we can adjust our gaze fully upon him, you will find the joy of the Lord becomes your strength. You will find that your life is being transformed in the here and now, and not way back when or sometime down the road. It is a present day living. You can understand the journey and embrace it. One day you will look at yourself and see your promises fulfilled. Or for some, you may look at a time in your life where maybe unspeakable events have occurred and you realize he has made all things truly beautiful for you in his time. My sister pointed out to me the gate called Beautiful in Jerusalem, reading from the New American Standard Bible, Acts chapter 3, verses 2 to 8. And a man who had been lame from his mother's womb was being carried along, whom they used to set down every day at the gate of the temple, which is called Beautiful, in order to beg alms of those who were entering the temple. When he saw Peter and John about to go into the temple, he began asking to receive alms. But Peter, along with John, fixed his gaze on him and said, "Look at us." And he began to give them his attention, expecting to receive something from them. But Peter said, "I do not possess silver and gold, but what I do have I give to you. In the name of Jesus of Nazareth, walk." And seizing him by the right hand, he raised him up, and immediately his feet and ankles were strengthened. With a leap, he stood upright and began to walk, and he entered the temple with them, walking and leaping and praising God. And they were taking note of him as being the one who used to sit at the beautiful gate of the temple to beg alms, and they were filled with wonder and amazement at what had happened to him. How beautiful it was for him, that moment in time when his life was made completely brand new. Recognize what season you are in and seasons you have come out of. See time through his eyes, and how you will wait will change. Perhaps your relationship will change and actually shift you into a new season. The season itself is a gift. There is a second half to Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 11. Also, he has set the world, or really eternity, in their heart so that no man can find out the work that God makes from the beginning to the end. He gives us an awareness of time and of eternity, but in such a way that it will always be somewhat of a mystery to us. Knowing that you really don't know, look at this season or past seasons of your life as a gift and trust him that his timing is perfect, and it will be a beautiful thing for all to behold. Okay. Thanks.